What's up, everybody? Tobin here with you as my son is I'm coming to you from the garage studios. I can see my son peeking in. It looks like he's looking for an ice pop. What do you got going on there, dude? Ice pop? What flavor? Shout it. Nope, he's done. He's getting all of a sudden your camera shot. He's got a grape ice pop going on. So anyway, that's what life has been like from home. I'm excited to get back in studio with you guys. I'll be back Monday with the whole crew. Leroy, Marcos, J-Fig. We're excited to bring it back to you guys. If you guys haven't heard, if you guys haven't seen my other videos, we will be back on Monday, October 3rd. 10 to 2 a.m. is our new live slot on WQAM, but we will be simulcasting on 790 for the foreseeable future. So looking forward to that for you guys. As far as the YouTube page, you guys will still be able to watch us on the station's YouTube page. I will believe that we'll be switching over to WQAM as well. I'm working on getting that custom URL fixed over there. But for everybody who tunes in here, love you guys. Been more than a busy week than I thought it would be with all the interviews I've been editing and things like that. But I got a new Porpoise pod up right now. Me and Solana getting into a lot of Thursday night football and excited about that. But want to get into some other stuff here as the injury report has come out for Thursday night football. And as of right now, the only people who are out are Ethan Carter and Hunter Long. But the other big names right now, you have Teron Armstead remains questionable. Not surprising there. Xavier Howard is questionable. Raekwon Davis dealing with a knee thing. He's questionable. Brandon Jones is questionable. Jalen Waddle, he's dealing with a groin, and he is questionable. And Cedric Wilson, he is also questionable. And then, of course, the big one everybody is wondering is Tua Tagovailoa, who on the injury report has a back and ankle injury. He is questionable for this game as well. So, listening to Tua, I talked in my last video, and I said that I wouldn't be against the Miami Dolphins sitting Tua for this game, just because I think, you get out to a 3-0 lead, a 3-0 record, and, you're playing great, all that stuff considered, that, it wouldn't be the dumbest thing in the world to sit Tua. But after listening to him after listening to his press conference this week and hearing what the Dolphins quarterback had to say, I don't think he's sitting this one out, baby. I really, really don't. Hearing the coach talk and hearing Tua talk, it doesn't sound like he is in the mood to sit this one out. And, I do think that Tua's on a bit of a revenge tour this year. I think that you look at the questions about his arm and how cocky he was coming into this year with people saying, oh, why do you think there's fascination with your arm? And he goes, oh, people don't think I can throw that deep. And why would I be in the NFL of that? And, that I don't know about you guys, but that looked like money and all that stuff. I think that also a question for Tua is durability. And I think that this one's on national TV, and it is a talking point. I don't care if Tua's got the nice guy persona or any of that. The dude's got a little bleep you to him. And I think that he knows, like, this is him. People don't like to say it's him versus Burrow, but it is him versus Joe Burrow. And I think that for him to go out there and get another win on prime time, to have a performance like that, if he can muster it up, he's going to go out there and then, take this extra bye, basically, like the little mini bye going into that Jets game. And I think just hearing him talk yesterday and getting his impression from that, I got the feeling that this is a guy who is really doing everything that he can to get out there. Here was a little Tua yesterday.
I've been up here getting treatment, doing everything I can to get, as close to 100% as possible. So, yeah, that means, after all of this, staying as long as I have to until these guys have to go home.
So he's been doing treatment around the clock. They're already in Cincinnati. Team's up there getting ready for the old-time matchup. But he is doing everything that he can to play. But he did say that it was a pretty hard game to get through against the Bills.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. It was difficult because, we weren't out there as much. And so sitting down on the bench, back started to get tight and then things started to lock up. So I had to kind of move around, little on the sideline. But I mean, for the most part, just got to find a way to get our playmakers the ball and just go out there, and I mean, nothing feels better than a win. So,
and that is that was the great elixir for him, you know. Now, the interesting thing with this is also, like, you know, Mike McDaniel revealed on Monday that Tua was dealing with a bunch of stuff, an ankle injury. Obviously, everybody's pretty concerned about the whole way that the concussion thing went down and him, you know, wobbling the way that he was and all that. But he says that the main concern is the back. That is the thing that he's dealing with, really.
yeah, I would say it was more the back than the ankle. The ankle was just, I would say, after the game soreness when my legs got caught up under whoever it was on the quarterback sneak.
And the head is completely out.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, not even entertaining the concussion thing. So after hearing him speak, I get the impression this is a guy who is going to do everything he can to play. And look, these guys are crazy. You know, with you know, you see what's going around the league, what these guys are trying to play through. You know, Justin Herbert not looking even 1,000% last week against the Jaguars, knowing that he's dealing with the banged up ribs. I think Tua is going to do everything that he can. He knows that there's a lot at stake with this season. You know, like even Tyreek Hill, like, you know, crazy as it is, you know, Tyreek Hill mentioned this after the Ravens game and said, like, he's going to need a wheelbarrow around for all that money they're going to pay him. And we see with these franchises, unless you're a guy who goes out there and you lead them to the Super Bowl and there's no questions, they try and find anything to poke into to try and not pay these quarterbacks. And durability is certainly one of the concerns. You know, not just the fact that maybe a guy's a running quarterback, or they try and say, oh, he doesn't have all the things, the intangibles down, or he doesn't have all the throws right, or he's a little bit one-dimensional here. But availability is a huge, huge thing. And, you know, it'll make teams question whether or not they should pay you. I think it's probably one of the big things the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson, stupidly, by the way, that they think that he can't, you know, that this isn't going to hold up. And so if Tua becomes the guy who can only play 13 games a year or 12 games a year, do you have more hesitancy on how much you pay him? And so I think he knows how much is at stake, not only for this team and starting off 4-0, what a monster that would be for him, because you start off 4-0, I mean, you're sitting pretty looking to get to the playoffs that year. And I don't even feel like, you know, I'm being a jinx there. Like, you start off 4-0, the schedule they have ahead, you've taken on some of the toughest opponents you're already going to take on. You're in a really, really good spot. And not only that, but I think it shows that, you know, I think that coming back, as barbaric as it seemed, I do think that shows your teammates something. Even McDaniel said that yeah, it does show leadership in this insane world that they have. I think just like Tyreek Hill coming back off the cramps, like it means something that while everybody on the Bills sidelines is wilting and they can't play, this dude's playing with a jacked up back and is making big plays to help them win. As far as Joe Burrow is concerned, he had some thing or two to say about a thing or two. Here is Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, we've been around each other. He texted me when I got injured, and I texted him when he got injured, and so we've stayed in contact since we played against each other last.
What's it like to see him? You know, obviously got to have a breakout year this year after everything he's been through.
Yeah, he's playing well. It's exciting to see. All the quarterbacks in our draft class have been playing well, and that's always exciting to see. The more talent, the better.
All right, Macaulay Culkin, take it easy. You're gonna be screaming like you put on the aftershave once you got all the Dolphins defenders chasing after him. And I think that is gonna be an interesting thing going into this game, is that you not only have a quarterback who is star-studded and everybody, you know, Joe Burrow is pretty Teflon right now, which you should be. You come off a knee injury and then you go and you make the Super Bowl and you nearly win the Super Bowl. What can be said about this guy? But he does get his ass kicked. I mean, that is something that, if you talk about durability concerns and the way these guys are hanging about, like how much Joe Burrow can actually go through this and keep taking these games where he is getting lit up. And this is a defense that gets after it. We saw this with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, you know, as much as everybody wants to say, oh, the Bills dominated that game, that dude had like 5 or 6 picks that slipped through hands. And you know, he does have this gargantuan size that is tough to bring down that Joe Burrow doesn't necessarily have. He doesn't have the wheels that Josh Allen has, and he doesn't have that like impossibility to take down. He gets sacked a lot. He also, like Tua, will try and keep plays in there. He's not unsusceptible to throwing some picks every now and then. So I do think that this is the type of quarterback where there are certain things that this defense will continue to try and bring to the table with its home run hitting style of being super aggressive, trying to make plays, try and get turnovers, try and put your offense in easy positions to score. That could possibly set up well for them going into this game. And it's also going to be a fun one. Like, I do think that Tua versus Burrow, as much as they like to downplay, it's not me versus him. Everybody does that. Quote, it's not me versus him, which is a funny thing because the wide receivers seem more open to it. Because, like, Waddle's like, yeah, I'm going to check on Jamar Chase's stats. I'm going to check on Devontae Smith's stats. I'm going to compare myself. Who's the dude on the Lions? Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he's just like, I know everybody who was taken ahead of me. I keep track of all that stuff. The quarterback's always like, oh, it's not quarterback versus quarterback. It's team versus team. You're adorable. We all know that. We all know that when you lay your head on the pillow and you go off to dreamland, you start naming the things and other slights that the QBs or the media has for you. There's definitely a Burrow versus Tua type of thing. Even Joe Burrow acknowledged this during his media session where he was like, I watched that Dolphins versus Bengals game. That was like kind of the Burrow Bowl. And then was talking about, his last time taking on Tua in college and what a big deal that was for him to get that game. So I don't understand why that would change in the NFL. I think you're drilled into you that you're supposed to be more professional and, people aren't like Tyreek Hill who are blatantly calling out Eli Apple. But not everybody's Tyreek Hill, where they like to just throw their what's on the table. Interestingly, though, I am curious for a couple of things for this Dolphins team. They have not got off to this fantastic start running the football, and I do wonder for their standpoint, like, is this a game where they can start getting things going a little bit? Because that was, I think, an expectations from fans that Mike McDaniel and his guru-ness was going to get that going. And it really hasn't been the case. They have been a team that has definitely been, their biggest plays have come from the passing game, and look, they've been in pretty wild situations where it's you're looking at it and it's like 3rd and 22, Bombski, 4th and 7, bullet down to Jalen Waddle. 3rd and 10, effort play to Tyreek Hill. So it's been these 3rd, 4th and long situations, and you would like to see them kind of get into a position where, maybe they can get themselves in a spot where it's a little bit easier on them and get that run game going. But so far, it's been a Bengals team that's been pretty stingy, allowing stuff on the ground. They haven't really been going, but they have the same complaint on their side. Even as many weapons as they have, and they have a ton of them with Mixon and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Boyd and everything that they got going on over there. They're still in a spot where they're trying to still get everything on the same page, and it just hasn't been the case so far for them with this team. They've been kind of middling, and they're not as bad as the Dolphins have been. Listen, the Dolphins have been second worst rushing team in the league so far. But they're even still trying. I think probably had higher expectations. I mean, their skill guys are awesome all over the place, but for this Dolphins team, they need to get themselves in a position where I think the defense isn't gassed out. It's a quick turnaround for a defense that was on the field for a lot. Now, it's not going to be in that hellacious hot sun weather, but it was still a lot of snaps, and it was a hard challenge of taking down a physical Bills team and a tough, physically imposing quarterback. So, I think that the offense would do a lot of good if they could elongate some of these drives for sure. But also, on the other side of it, like, look, your best players are wide receivers, and your best players are Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill by a long shot. And, maybe you do a little bit more of those end arounds to Jalen Waddle where he's going for 9 and things like that. I think that the thing that's been good about McCochin is he's not stubborn on these things. I think he is adjusting as these things go by. And I do think that one good thing, and two even talked about this, was this has been a team in the Dolphins that has shown multiple ways to go win. whether it be week 1, week 2, week 3. They've all kind of won each of these games in different fashions, but they've all had windows and pockets of each of these units having very, very important stands for them. I can't wait for this matchup. Look, definitely was on the side of caution as the week started up, but if Tua is gonna play this week, I mean, it's as juicy as it gets, and I can't wait. I really, really can't wait. If Tua is able to shove it down that show pony's throat, and you guys know who I'm talking about, that bearded mascot who they put on Thursday Night Football, that would just make it all the sweeter. What did he say? Didn't he come out recently? He was doing some. Let me see these quotes, because I didn't even read the quotes. I just saw the headlines. I said, look at old Fitzy trying to walk it on back. Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick was speaking to the media, and this is from Joe Shad. He says, quote, "The surprising thing for me and the thing that I can't wait to see continue is these down-the-field balls. A lot of discussion has really been that he can't throw the ball far. He's done it so far in big moments." Yeah, he certainly has, hasn't he? Hasn't he, Fitzy? Even though you were out there on, well, it's not the arm. It's not the ability to scramble or create, so what is it? And then he also said something to the effect of, with Brian Flores in the relationship. He says, "I do think that the early success in a lot of ways is how he's being coached and his relationship with the head coach, because I think that was a huge sticking point and something that was just difficult for him in the first few years." Yeah, Brian Flores was a jerk to him. And by the way, you didn't help the fact by the fact, oh, boo-hoo, it was my team and I invested so much in my team. Oh, poor Fitzy. And then you had old Chan Gailey who's like, "Not to the level of Fitz." That didn't help either. He goes, and I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure it's evident to everybody in the way that McDaniel has come in and embraced Tua and made sure he knows that he's the guy he's loved and that they're on the same team trying to have success together. I think that's been really helpful for his mentality. Yeah, crazy. Imagine a coach who wants to support. When you have Chan Gailey, old Gramps, following you around and you're, spoon feeding him tapioca and he's giving you the plays that you want. Imagine that, having some symbiosis, a great relationship with you and your head coach. I know it's a crazy thing to think about, Ryan Fitzpatrick, you show pony, but I guess this is all just, nuts to everybody else to think, oh my God, if you support your quarterback, that's going to be a good thing. Wild, I know. Anyway, can't wait for Thursday Night Football. Seems like we are going to get the matchup that, maybe shouldn't happen physically, but it seems like we are going to get the juicy matchup that we all want between Tua and Joe Burrow. And I will never stop saying it like that.